Yeah. That it's good to find good stuff to share, but there's no people to share it with. That's my point.
But we're looking at content first and people to look at it later.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay.
Yeah, whereas before we were looking for people to listen to our stuff without actually having any content. So
yeah, the middle ground surely somewhere.
You know what time it is? It's time to pick a date. Yeah, that's what we like. And when we pick a date, we want to pick a real good one for you.
It's pick a date time. Stu here for another episode, and of course being joined by my very good friends, Matt. Matt's there. How are you?
All right. How are you, Stu?
I'm pretty good. Pretty good. Chubbs, how you doing there, fella?
Hello. Very well, thank you, Stuart. Good to see you, mate.
And Sensible Ben, how are you, my friend?
feeling very sensible this evening, gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be back.
Should we explain the Sensible Ben moniker?
What?
Or not?
Well, I think it's probably better to be left unsaid.
Is Monica his middle name? Sensible Ben Monica.
That'll get vetoed by Sensible Ben for sure.
Isn't Sensible my first name? Anyway, that's fine.
Chubbs, you were saying something was happening to you earlier this evening?
Yeah, I had a fun day today, hanging out the back of a bit of a dodgy looking van with a giraffe talking about drugs and sex, and it was pretty good. Good day.
Yes.
Wait.
Good days indeed. Happy days.
Did you get a visit from Harold?
Bit of flashback-orama, yeah.
Harold's
for
still
sure.
around? Harold Harold's just the giraffe.
Well, I thought
Healthy
Harold had retired.
The healthy Harold?
Yeah.
No, I think there was like...
Explain it for people who aren't from here.
So in Australia, we've got a wonderful program called the Life Education Van. And basically what it is, it's like a big caravan which travels around from school to school. And inside there's a puppet giraffe called Harold, which is, I don't want to put too fine a point on it, but probably the highlight of most students' education, primary education.
I definitely
where they learn about...
Yeah, I remember it from however many years, 30
That
years
was
ago.
30 years ago.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the regular meme is, I think the only in Australia can you be taught about sex, drugs, and alcohol by a giraffe in the back of a van.
And everyone thinks that's
pretty
okay.
much. That's pretty much the way that it is. But it was good. It is always very awkward though, trying to keep a straight face when you're in the back of a van with 20-something 11-year-olds who are all keeping a straight face while the presenter keeps using the word anus over and over again. And I'm just in conniptions, just every time she says it, like,
Sorry, we should probably point out that Chubbs is a teacher. He didn't just walk past while the kids were getting on the bus and join them.
You ever heard the word anus mentioned and thought he'd pop his head in and see what was going on?
Yeah.
Oh, Harold.
No, Harold's here.
oh, mate. So, yeah, keeping a straight face while the word anus is mentioned is very difficult.
You didn't happen to say, kids, Harold taught me about anuses as well. Back in the day.
From back in my day, back in the day.
It's all about anus.
Speaking of, shall we pick a date, guys?
Let's pick a date.
Let's pick a date.
Tonight's date is May 22nd. And, God, we couldn't have picked a worse date for boring-ass births and deaths. Let me tell you that. I mean, looking through the list of births and deaths here, like, the births, this is the best I could come up with. I like to try and pick 5 births. These are the best 5 I could come up with. 1907, Hergé, who was the author of Tintin.
Yeah, right on.
Tintin. Yeah.
Hergé.
1955, Ivor Davies of Icehouse fame.
Oh, nice. Of massive mullet fame as well.
Fantastic mullet.
He was on Illora this afternoon, Illora Radio.
Really?
Right.
Just hanging out?
I don't think
What? Did he mention it was his birthday?
No.
What?
That is very strange. Does he often appear on the radio, like just having a chat, or
No. Oh, I think he's doing some shows at the moment.
man, Ivor Davies, yeah, quality mullet, just fantastic. One of the all-time Australian rock mullets.
Oh, well, these keep getting better. 1957, Gary Sweet. How about that?
Oh.
Yes.
Right.
Is that getting you fired up?
Oh, big time.
I was hoping it was going to be Gary Who.
I thought you were going to say Gary Who for a second,
everyone-
and I was getting
Gary
excited.
Who was coming, but I knew it wouldn't be because otherwise you would have been more amped.
Oh, well, yeah,
Telling us whose birthday it was.
Yeah.
Unless you're playing it cool.
Oh, nice.
Side note, loves double denim, Gary Who. Let's not forget.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But never forget.
1970, Naomi Campbell. How about that? Wow.
Right.
And 1942, Ted Kaczynski. Does that name ring a bell for anyone?
Unabomber.
So you're
Yeah, American academic, mathematician, and serial murderer.
Right
Ted
on.
Kaczynski, the
That's word
Unabomber.
genius.
And now the whole list of deaths, there were only 3 names I actually recognized. So, like, seriously, May 22nd, lift your fucking game. In 337 AD, Constantine the Great, he died today. 1885, Victor Hugo. And 2013, Lee Rigby, the guy who got his head chopped off in London by the
Right. By the
yeah,
dude.
terrorists.
By that.
Awesome.
By the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're the 3 names that leapt out at me. So
Yeah, it's a real party, isn't it? Going through
it
the
is.
desk. Maybe go through the desk first and then do the best later next time.
Maybe I should.
We'll just do the deaths as a postscript.
Yeah. Well, I better see some better deaths next date we pick, fellas.
Yes, go
That's what I'm
for
telling you.
it.
A few notable events that happened on May the 22nd. So, 1455 was the start of the War of the Roses. At the First Battle of St. Albans, Richard, Duke of York, defeats and captures King Henry VI of England. 1804, the Lewis and Clark expedition officially begins, as the course of the Discovery departs from St. Charles, Missouri. Don't know why I made it a little French
They
there.
were trying to find Superman.
Sorry, mate.
I don't know.
All right. 18.
It doesn't bear repeating.
The penal transportation of British convicts to the New South Wales colony is abolished.
Right.
1906, Wright brothers patented their flying machine. And in 1939, World War II, Germany and Italy signed a pact of steel with each other. Mussolini and Hitler joining forces there.
Yeah,
And
they'll be fine. They're not going to cause anything.
No,
They'll be right.
they're all right.
They'll be right.
Pact of Steel.
19...
They're just selling the steel.
Yeah, just kitchen knives instead of steak knives.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. 1969, Apollo 10's lunar module flies within 8.4 nautical miles of the moon's surface. So Apollo 10 was the very last trial run before Apollo 11's landing mission. So they did everything but touch down on the moon's surface pretty much. And how about this? According to the 2002 Guinness World Records, Apollo 10 set the record for the highest speed attained by a manned vehicle. 39,897 kilometers per hour.
Right.
Fuck.
Yes, during the return.
And that wasn't beaten. It
No.
hasn't been beaten.
It's never
since.
been beaten. No.
Bloody
Well,
hell.
what?
So did they have any information as to why it was
Well, I guess it's just the orbit.
just their rate of ascent, like descent and then coming
I
back?
believe
again?
so. Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
I like to check out what Saint Day it is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, fire up everyone. It's the Saint Day section.
It's Saint Day.
Today, amongst others, is the day for Saint Fulk, who was beatified for assisting plague victims during his journey through southern Italy in the 12th century, after which he promptly died of the plague. So, Saint Fulk, thanks very much for all your efforts there. And
Well done, Fulk.
and today, shout out to Davy and Dent our friend from England. Today is World Goth Day, May 22nd.
Right.
So, yes, you can get excited.
Shout out.
Or not excited about that.
Yeah, get not
Yes.
excited. For what-
Yeah, heaps good.
How does that path work?
Awesome.
Is there a World Emo Day that people can confuse for World Goth Day, I wonder?
They weren't excited enough to actually name a day. So
Okay.
they didn't want anyone else to know about it. Maybe that's World Hipster Day.
No one knows, yeah.
Yeah.
That was last year.
But then everyone knows. Then all of a sudden, everyone knows.
Now, so fellas, I would like to tell you about the only patent ever registered to a president of the United States.
Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, you know that. Yeah. This is a story.
Sorry, it's
Still
not a
the
quiz.
thunder.
Sorry. This isn't the quiz portion.
So this is a story I'm calling Abe Lincoln's Boaty Floaty. So at the age of 21 years old, Abe was contracted to build a flatboat to take a few barrels of produce to New Orleans, for which he was going to receive $12 a month. Great. Employed life had begun for him, right?
Right.
So there's just one thing you need before you start a job like that. A decent pair of pants.
That's right.
Okay, yeah.
So imagine a time when you had to really work for your pants. Okay? This was such a time. Abe struck a deal with a Mrs. Nancy Miller to split 400 rails of wood for every yard of fabric that would be needed to make him a fetching pair of brown jeans dyed with white walnut bark. So I looked up how many yards of fabric is needed to make pants. The average is 3 1/4. So let's round that up to 3 1/2 because Abe
Well, Abe
was
was a tall guy, yeah.
Yeah, he was
a big
tallish.
dude.
So that's 1,400 rails he needed to split to get those pants.
Jeez.
And these days, people chop rails in the hope it might make someone lose their pants. Hey, So, yes, Lincoln had his brand spanking new Dax, and he was on his way. After proceeding as far as New Salem, the crude craft he was using got stuck on a mill dam, and for 24 hours it sat there, the bow was in the air and the stern in the water. Of course, entertainment was scarce in those days, so all the residents of the town came out to the riverbank just to watch and shout advice at this guy who was stuck in the middle of the river.
Pull your pants higher.
Yeah, nice pants.
Nice pants, yeah. Wow.
Good work with Bob.
How many rails did that cost you?
That fucking hat will never catch on.
1,400. Ah, you paid too much.
My brother could have got him for 11.
So Lincoln had to unload all the cargo, all the boxes and barrels he had onto a neighboring boat, and then tilt his craft back to horizontal. Then he had to bore a hole in the end of it that extended over the mill dam, so the water was all let out. And then Abe could finally reload his boat and keep going. So this experience stayed with him. And 20 years later, the final straw came when Abe was on a journey between Niagara Falls and his home of Springfield, Illinois. The boat he was on became stranded in shallow water and had to be prized loosed, first with a large pole that was driven into the mud, and then with a winch and rope attached they got the steamer free. So as soon as Lincoln got home, he began to build a model representing an idea he had. He was whittling in his law office on his model, and he kept talking about it.
And that's one thing I'd like to do.
Yeah.
Of an evening is to sit there doing a bit of whittling.
Have a whittle.
Yeah, just whittle. Well, have a law office for a start.
Well, yeah.
And then whittle in it.
Yeah.
And so he's sitting there talking up the merits of his idea and the revolution it was going to work in river transportation to his partner. And it's noted that his partner did not think much of the idea and sought to discourage him.
Yeah.
So what was the idea?
Thought, aren't you just shit at driving a pilot in a boat?
There's a
Maybe
common
you don't
denominator.
stop running
here,
into
fella.
shit.
More wet, less dry.
Did he run on that campaign? Was that his first campaign?
Yeah. Yeah, not stuck for 20 days. So what was his idea? Enormous bellows that were attached to the bottom of the boat just under the waterline. And if your craft gets stuck in the shallows or on a shoal, you pump the bellows, which fill with air, lifting the boat up off what it's stuck on and allowing it to drift over the hazard. So Lincoln...
So it's like a little hovercraft.
Yeah, it's hovercraft-esque. Yes, absolutely.
So what was it made out of? Like, what was the bellows?
Well, it'd be fabric of some kind. Hopefully not. He wouldn't have to split rails to get that.
That's a lot of rails. Yes, right.
Or maybe if he ever gets stuck, he'd have to decide between his pants and ever getting off the river. Yeah.
Well, that would be awesome if the bellows just inflated his pants.
Yeah, you could just get off.
Or attached to the truck.
Yeah, his boat's
Well, this became like super pants.
His boat's gone, but at least he can float off. No. So, eventually Lincoln went to Washington and took his model with him. And he got enough encouragement from people there that, he just kind of wandered around with a boat under his arm and explained it to people who are interested. And he got enough encouragement.
Stop and admire his pants.
And he got enough encouragement to apply for a patent. So, yeah, that's the story of a president with a patent. Part of his patent application read, "Be it known that I, Abraham Lincoln of Springfield in the county of Sangamon in the state of Illinois, have invented a new and improved manner of combining adjustable buoyant air chambers with a steamboat or other vessel for the purpose of enabling their draught of water to be readily lessened to enable them to pass over bars or through shallow water without discharging their cargoes." And sadly, the new patent was never put into practice, presumably because presidential matters got in the way. But there you go.
Is there any chance his first Emancipation Proclamation draft was all about freeing the boats? Just tying that in so people go, "Oh, yeah, he's right. We need something." And he's like, "How about this?"
Well, the Civil War was basically fought because he wanted to put a whole bunch of bellows underneath all the slaves.
And the people in the South were like, "No,
Everyone
don't ever run in. We never run aground. We're not stupid."
I thought it was just because a southern gentleman dared to say it was going to be 800 rails a yard for his next pair of slacks.
That's right.
I'm not paying that.
How many rails would you split for some brown jeans?
Oh,
Do you think?
quite a few.
Yeah.
1,400
How brown?
Oh, brown. Excellent question.
Yes, well.
Yes.
So is there a scale? Sensible Ben, of the browner they are, the more you're willing, or the less you're willing?
Look, I think the closer we get to a really dark brown, then
So closer to chestnut,
definitely the more willing I would be to
You're probably right there. Like a tan fabric isn't worth as much as like a deep chocolate brown.
If you've got a mahogany, then
a mahogany pant. That's
mahogany pants.
yeah. Oh, just a dream of.
Get to work on that. We'll get to work on that scale.
That's
Did I mention that today was the day that he registered his patent? I probably should have said that at the start.
Yes.
May 22 was the day he registered his patent.
So, on this day, May 22nd, 1962, some very, very, very exciting news, which I'm sure that you guys probably were pretty keen to be able to talk about this evening, but I managed to snavel it up first. Mm-hmm. I don't know whether you realise this, but on that date, the Duke of Edinburgh headed a poll of popularity of UK youth.
Right.
What?
And this was front page news of the Sydney Morning Herald. If anyone needs any kind of indication just how fucking boring the 22nd of May is, then we've found our winner.
So give us that again. It was a poll of...
So this is the headline. Duke heads popularity poll of UK youth. Okay, so basically what it is that, and this is, once again, from 1962. Right. And you got to, every time you read anything here, you just kind of go back to the old-timey semi-English accents.
Oh, yes.
London, May 22. Hundreds, literally hundreds of young people polled by a newspaper have voted the Duke of Edinburgh the member of the royal family they would most like to meet. So it's not even like kind of talking about him being the most popular person or anything like that.
Not even the sexiest man in Britain or anything like that.
Just being the most popular member of the royal family, like the hundreds of youths that were polled decided that
Lined up outside outside Buckingham Palace.
Yeah, and this is, as I say, this is the headline. Like, sorry, not headline. It is front page news,
Right.
on the Sydney Morning Herald. So a very serious broadsheet over here in Australia for that date. So basically, that's the end of the story. But I thought this would be a really nice opportunity to have a look back, and with the royal wedding and everything already happening, some of the most exciting fuck ups that Prince Philip has made over his
Fantastic.
94 years. And so basically this little game is pick your Duke. So it's all going to be Duke of Edinburgh. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you the quote, and I might do a quick straw poll of you guys if you can give me a bit of an idea about who he might have said this quote to. So it might be a group, it might be an individual, who or where. They might be important. So have a think. I'll give you just a couple of examples just to warm up, and I'll tell you what it was.
Right.
So if I gave you the quote ghastly, there's actually two answers for this one.
Okay.
So it could have been Prince Philip's opinion of Beijing during a tour in 1986, or it could have been Prince Philip's opinion of Stoke-on-Trent as given to the Labor MP for Stoke-on-Trent in 1997. So there we go. So if I said ghastly, you could say, what he said about, his visit to Gossip, or what he said when he smelled Princess Diana's car seat. Anyway, so this is up to you what you want to do. So we've got, so this is the first one. We're ready for the quote?
Yes.
All right. I'll see if I can do my Duke of Edinburgh. Deaf. If you're near there, no wonder you are deaf. So who did he say that to?
Near there. Maybe like a music group that was trying to put on a performance for him.
That's pretty good. It was said,
Is it One Direction based?
No, bagpipers.
That's not bad.
Bagpipers.
I'll tell you what. That's
Military tattoo.
Foreshadowing there, Buckland. That's not quite right this time. Think about. Oh no! But think about.
Is it like a hard of hearing,
instruments.
like a hearing impaired choir?
Oh, we're getting very close. You're right on the right track. So we've got a deaf children, and we've got a native instrument.
A deaf bagpipers.
Oh, not quite. Think colonies. And
Let's not forget his racism here, guys. I'm going to go with
deaf
an
drummers.
African.
A deaf
African drummer.
We're on the money. True. It's actually said to a group of deaf children standing near a caravan steel drum
Oh
deck.
my god!
Yeah.
Year 2000. Not that long.
No.
Yeah.
This is actually a pretty well-known quote, so you might actually get this one. If you stay here much longer, you will go home with slitty eyes.
Yep.
Oh god!
Was that said in Hong
An
Kong?
opening of a
perchance?
Chinese restaurant in the main street of London.
Not bad, not quite.
You're talking to people at an international school in I don't know
Hong Kong.
Hong Kong. Yes, that's a good one.
Pretty close. I'll give you that one. So there's another point to Maddie there. So to 21-year-old British student Simon Kirby during a visit to China in 1986.
Out. He's a good one. He's good.
Everyone was racist in 1986.
Yeah, in the 80s.
Yeah. And the 2000s and the 90s.
Yeah.
2000.
All right.
That's right.
The next quote is, so you managed not to get eaten then?
An adventurer's return from a third world country.
Oh,
Very
with
good.
starvation as its problem, or with like a famine?
Give me the country. Oh, that would have been brilliant. It's not bad, though. You're on the right track, though. Think cannibals.
Oh, cannibals! Oh my god!
Oh, Papua New Guinea.
There we go. Bang on there, Buckland. I'll give you the points for that one. So it was to a British student who had just returned from a trek through Papua New Guinea on his official visit to the Buckingham Palace in 1998.
All right.
Right.
Gracious.
Now, this really has just been given the license, hasn't he? He's just like, look, you are good to go.
Have any of you guys watched The Crown?
No, I haven't watched the
No,
game.
not yet.
It's really good. Like, honestly, and it's really good to watch. But you get a lot more respect for this dude after watching it. Like, I just kind of thought he was a bit of a bumbling old fool type thing. But yeah, he's got a bit more substance to him than that. And I think that a lot of what he says is he's intending to be funny.
Right.
Like, he's doing it with a great deal of intent and almost satirical intent, I think, in a lot of cases. But maybe I'm giving him too much credit. It's very hard to get.
But again, it's the same. It's the same thing. If someone followed any one of us around with a notepad recording everything we said to anyone else, we'd have a very extensive list of inappropriate comments that we've said that we were like, probably shouldn't have said that.
Just today.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To be fair, though, we would probably temper ourselves if we had the job of, say, a monarchy, for example.
Yeah.
You know, we'd probably control ourselves a little bit, couldn't we?
Yeah, possibly.
Nah.
I'll tell you what, though, it'll be like Tourette's once those doors are closed.
Maybe that's what's happened. Maybe he's had to keep a storm for so long it kind of bursts out like Cartman. It becomes like
I think so, yeah.
it just escapes.
So Prince Philip visited my university at around the time I was there, and like visited where they make the cheese. There was like a part of the university where they made quite famous cheese, and they had to throw out a whole vat of cheese because he refused to wear a hairnet while he was in there having a look at it.
That's right. Yeah, he wouldn't wear a hairnet and they had to get it all out of there.
Yeah. Yeah, the entire, yeah.
Yep, so to throw the whole lot out. And no one...
Yeah, he's a fuckwit. Right.
You were giving him way too much credit.
Fucking
Too much
Chubbs.
credit. Yeah.
Way too much credit.
Crimes against cheese.
Crimes against cheese. That's it.
Jesus. Horrific.
Forget about anything else.
22nd, 2018.
You can be as racist and misogynistic as you want, but don't play crimes against cheese.
Yes, I'm a fuck with cheese.
All right.
That's coming out on PlayStation next week.
All right.
Next quote. How do you keep the natives off the booms long enough to pass the test?
Pass the test. All right, is that so?
Okay, so this was during a visit to Australia in the late 80s. Hang on, when were we floating to have a test to become an Australian citizen?
I don't think...
You've got none out of three there. We can
fair enough.
move on.
I don't think natives have to pass the test to become a citizen, do they?
Well, I don't think they do either, but Prince Philip's a bit of use.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
All right. So I'm going to go back to
Sensible Ben.
I'm going back to my Scottish theme.
Oh, very well done.
Yes,
Right track.
exactly.
And what kind of test do you think it might have been?
Oh, well, just like a test for like military service. No.
I quite think simpler. I think
Like a driving test?
Oh, right.
driving test. There we go. Well done.
Wow, driving test.
So, asked him a Scottish driving instructor in 1995. Yeah. This is a very sensitive quote from him. People usually say that after a fire, it is the water damage that is the worst. We're still drying out Windsor Castle.
No, jeez.
So who did he say that to?
Still
Was it like after Hurricane Katrina or something?
Well, you're on the right track. So it's a pretty big disaster. It was a UK disaster.
Oh, yeah.
And once again, it was Scottish, actually. Well, it wasn't a natural disaster, though.
Oh, not a natural disaster. Which castle?
Was it a bombing?
It was.
Yeah.
So it was actually I'll give you that one, Ben. So the survivors of the Lockerbie bombing.
I was going to say, another
that's what you
Lockerbie
got,
bombing,
Philip.
even that. Oh, my God, really?
Yeah, so that's what he said to the survivors of the Lockerbie bombing, how horrible it is that they're still drying out Windsor Castle after all the damage that they saw.
Because it's on fire, because the kitchen caught on fire or whatever. Wow, he's a sensitive soul.
Well, luckily they were drying out the Queen Mother at the same time, just to try and get her off the cheese for it.
Wow, this is a good one. So, do you still throw spears at each other?
Oh, that's Aboriginals. Yeah.
Absolutely. Do anyone have a guess of the year?
I'm going to go
2005.
2000s.
Very close. It is 2000s. It's 2002.
Hey.
So,
I like how it's automatically Price is Right.
yeah, whoever's
Always, whenever there's any numbers.
I'll go one. I'm going to go 1 AD.
I'm not yaying because, I thought I got the answer right. I was yaying just because how great is that, really?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Fantastic.
If you like that one, you can like this one too. So, who's on drugs here? He looks as if he's on drugs.
Would that be visiting some sort of like
Hospice?
disabled clinic or something?
Oh, close.
Is it like rehab or something like that?
Yeah.
Not rehab, no.
George.
Ooh.
Very close. It was actually to a 14-year-old member of the Bangladeshi Youth Club in 2002. I reckon he must have decided just to not give a fuck in 2002. There's a couple
loaded up.
To be fair,
There's 4 in a row here,
that's around
which are absolute killers.
2000's around about when he turned 80. So that's probably the yardstick he was aiming for. If I get to 80, that's it. Off the leash.
Let loose.
Off the place.
Open the sluices.
Maybe he smelled it. Maybe you could smell it, and he was like, "Yes, who's holding? Someone's carrying. Are you carrying?" That's really what he meant.
He's definitely that kid. I can smell his drugs. I don't know which drugs they are, but some good drugs.
Another 2002. You could do with losing a little bit of weight.
Right.
Did he meet Roseanne?
I mean,
Okay, you're right.
yep.
Out of left field a little, but that's okay. Let's just say at a beauty pageant.
Well, close. Very, very close, actually. We'll stick with the youth theme. It was to a hopeful 13-year-old astronaut.
Oh, right. Okay.
Andrew Adams. That's just what you want to hear when you're a 13-year-old.
Right.
Thank you for being nice and saying that was close too, by the way. It really wasn't.
Well, it was a long. I was. If we're talking about principle,
I'd set the yardstick. Anything other than what I'd set
Closer
was
than
close.
Roseanne. Well, like Roseanne in space wouldn't be a bad thing.
Closer than Roseanne is. It's a great way to measure how right quiz questions are.
Unless the answer is Roseanne.
Yeah. So we'll finish up with this is showing your sensitive side. That's a nice tie. Do you have any knickers in that material?
Oh, okay. Getting a bit sexy.
Is it to the Prime Minister?
Oh, well, very close. Not quite.
Is it another?
It is a member of Parliament.
Thatcher?
No, it was actually. I think that's about as close as we're going to get. But I was talking about the tartan design for the papal visit with the Scottish Tory leader Annabel Goldie.
Right. For the papal visit.
So,
How's no one popped him in his enormous nose?
I'm sure
They probably have.
I reckon the Queen.
That's why
the Queen just smacks him around behind closed doors.
wails on him.
Right. Give him cauliflower ears and shit.
Yeah, big time.
One of my favourite ones, though, is if it doesn't fart or eat hay, she isn't interested. And that's him talking about his own daughter, Princess Anne.
Oh, right.
Let's go to roll off the most tenuous link for the 22nd of May. Duke of Edinburgh head popularity poll of UK.
Thank you very much, Chubbs.
That was a starting point.
And
Sensational.
it's tough work.
Sweet.
All right, I've got a couple of things. I've got a couple of little sort of some factoids, if I can throw them at you. I know we're probably heavily factoided this evening, but in 2015, Ireland became the first country in the world to legalise same-sex
Yeah, it
marriage
did.
on the 22nd of May. Well, one that tickled my fancy was a shirt called David Letterman an asshole on late night TV in 1986 on the 22nd of May.
Yeah.
Okay. Was that in an encyclopedia or what? Where did you get that?
That was just under one of the highlighted pieces of paper that I just highlighted somewhere, and it just showed up.
Oh, okay.
Do you have an assistant? Do you have an assistant that just brings you like this information?
He just says, he
Yes.
just rips on random words. He's
right.
been sure.
I've been reading a book on Sure and Dave Blackman.
If you don't, we can hire one.
We can hire an assistant for you.
Yeah,
That's right.
send your resumes in.
Yeah, why not? Now,
He's going to apply to be his own assistant.
now there was a dude named Hugh Daly,
Right.
who was a pitcher in the Major League Baseball in the 1880s. Now, the strange thing about him was he threw 13 strikeouts in one game, but the strange and that was on May 22nd in 1885.
Good.
He had one arm.
Hey.
Right. Was it his pitching arm?
Oh, damn it, you got it.
I knew, I could tell.
I thought you were going to say he then went on to drum for Dan.
Oh, dear.
Right.
But I found a little bit out about this guy, and this obviously, guess what does anyone want to guess what his nickname was?
Letty?
One Arm Daily.
Wow.
Fucking hell.
So he lost his left hand to a gun accident earlier in his life. And to compensate for this injury, he fixed a special pad over the affected area and caught the baseball by trapping it in between.
Oh, I thought you were going to say he stuck a mitt on his shoulder.
Yeah.
So it looks like he's sort of lost a portion of his arm, not
Not the entire arm, right. I mean, he just fixed something that makes the mitt go on. I mean, he's an early Oscar Pistorius, isn't he?
That's right, he is. So
You're going to get a mention every app.
But at least it has context.
Yeah.
It's
this isn't
not someone falling off a bridge. I wonder what Oscar Pistorius would sound like doing that.
Now, just to give you a little bit of an idea about this guy's disposition, because this was a big part of what they wanted to talk about, was sometimes after long games of having to catch baseballs this way, so obviously in between, his stump would become sensitive.
Yeah.
So sensitive, in fact, that he once punched his catcher for not heeding his warning to throw the balls back to himself.
Oh, right.
Which arm did he punch him with?
Oh, man.
Old Sensi stump.
Right.
Oh, dear. So anyway, that was a little bit about Hugh Daly.
Right. Gave him the old one half.
So here's another little quick thing that that grabbed me. Just again, a little bit of clickbait. Where's my date? Where's my date? I didn't pick my date. 2013, on May 22nd, 2013, the Venezuelan National Assembly backed plans to import 39 million rolls of toilet paper in an effort to relieve a chronic shortage.
Oh, right.
Yes. They were throwing poop at the president.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's exactly right.
Now, basically,
Well, he's in protest of no toilet paper.
That's right. Yeah, they were actually doing poop protest.
All right.
correct. So their supplies were running so low. Now, I'd like to, if at some stage we can do something. I didn't check what date Hugo Chavez's birthday or death date was.
Okay.
But if we can do a podcast on one of those days, I'd like to learn a little bit more about him.
Oh.
He seems like a great
I would
guy.
have been happy for it to be today. It was fuck all up the top.
True.
You know, you could have do that any time, Sensible Ben.
Well, that's right. I could just look it up. I
Learn
have
that.
a reason, but it would help to actually have a reason. Yeah, basically the issue was that that the government had put currency controls into place. Well, shivers, sorry, to prevent money from fleeing the country, and those rules made it harder to buy imports. And meanwhile, there were caps put on making stuff within Venezuela, which made just staples, actually making staples like toilet paper, toothpaste, soap. No one actually wanted to make them because they would lose money by making them. The cost of production was actually more than what they were allowed to sell it for. So
Inflation went to crazy levels as well. So
yeah, and so at that stage, the Venezuelan government a week later went and bought a toilet roll factory.
What?
So they actually went, and so that they could. So here, the story is here.
Nationalised toilet paper. That's awesome.
Yeah. if you're the Venezuelan government and you're running low on toilet paper, you take over a toilet paper factory.
So in Australia, it'd be like nationalise Telstra, nationalise NBN, nationalise electricity. They're like, no, nationalise Sorbent. That's what we were. That's their first
right.
thing. First piece.
Exactly. Get that dog into government, I reckon. But that caught my eye.
So
The one
do you
thing-
reckon at the time, because obviously there was a shortage, people getting stressed, do you reckon they might have had some TP inspectors going along, seeing how much people were using at any given time? Right.
Well, they actually, so basically what would happen was that someone would get it, like a shop would get a delivery of toilet paper.
Yeah.
Right. There'd be a run on.
And there would be a massive run on toilet paper. So they actually had to
no
have
pun
people
intended.
there. That's right.
Right.
All the puns intended. I was actually really disappointed with the lack of puns that
On the
were
story.
in all the stories that I looked at.
No, the
But
inspectors would come around and they go, right, you're scrunching.
Yeah.
You could get at least 4 extra pieces out of the whole job here if you were to fold thrice.
Yeah, be like nationalised, like ads on TV about how to fold your toilet paper.
Yeah, that's
to
right.
make it last longer.
Oh, who's folding? You've
Yeah.
just got to just tear it up into, finger size. And
Scrunching is wasting.
It was the sequel to Pele's impotent situation.
Yeah,
It
right.
came out with the, hey, why are you scrunching when you should be folding? We could all save it. There'll be plenty of toilet paper for all.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounded a
Yeah,
little
finger
like
strips are the way to
Rocco
go.
Siffredi.
I've got one more thing for the 22nd of May, but I just wanted to bring it back a little bit, and I want to talk to you guys about a TV series that we all know and love. And the name of that TV series is Blossom.
Oh, right. Hang on.
For those
Are you
that-
speaking?
Hey, let's
Yeah,
backtrack. Let's backtrack here. Let's backtrack.
No, all right.
Okay.
Well, sorry. I misrepresented. A TV series that we all know.
Yeah.
And you love.
All it does. That is true. That is true. So for those that don't know, Blossom is an American sitcom that was broadcast for 5 seasons. Series focused on the life of Blossom, who was a young teenage girl. And
Why are we telling people about Blossom? Exactly.
well, look. But, hey, I told you there was a tenuous very.
She went to
So
Venezuela in an episode?
if you can bear with me,
Run out of toilet paper.
if you can
She's
bear with me,
scrunched and got
Buffin,
marched away to prison.
there are some high highs and some low lows. Now, basically, the reason that I wanted to talk about Blossom was thrice fold.
Folding.
Say someone use the word thrice folded.
You should thrice fold. You won't get marched.
Yeah, exactly right. Thrice fold where it's at.
But do you have to use extra ply?
Thank you. No. That's why you thrice fold. You can use a single.
Get to the point of Blossom.
Yeah. Blossom.
All right. So the point of Blossom, and look. Did you guys know that Alf was on Blossom? Yeah, of course. And Will Smith. That's right.
I'm
But
glad
sadly,
Sensible Ben
Blossom-
only lasted one episode.
Blossom
There's
Blossom
Blossom to be talking
aired for the last time on May the 22nd,
Oh.
1995.
The end of
Okay,
Blossom.
awesome.
The end of Blossom. And that is literally the end of Blossom.
Well, why wasn't that on the deaths noticing? That's way more interesting than the other people.
But Blossom lives on in my mind.
Yeah. Oh. All right.
And on the Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, thank you, Sensible Ben.
Yeah, I need grab a drink of water quickly. Just before I do.
Well, you could have done that while I was talking about Blossom.
I needed to know the point. I didn't want to miss it.
Hey, 22.
Nice one.
All right.
May 22. What an exciting day.
I'm going to bring it into the now, so to speak. I have a headline from today's newspaper, which reads, "Another human foot, this one in a hiking boot, washes ashore in Canada,"
Wow.
making it the 14th human foot to have washed ashore in Canada in the same area of British Columbia in the past 11 years.
Right.
Each foot contained in a shoe at the ankle. Removed at the ankle.
Okay.
So, do we have any information around the type? Like, has it been?
Well, so what I think we could do is, I was so interested. I read a lot on this. So, if you've got questions, ask them now, and I'll try and answer them as best I can.
All right.
Or what do we think's going on, and maybe we'll get to the point.
Okay.
Does it look like some kind of surgical removal?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
My
good question.
It is not a surgical removal.
Okay, is there a list of the 11? Is that correct? Sorry, that's the amount of years. Is it how many feet?
14.
14 feet. Have the feet all had some type of footwear on them?
Yes, every single one of them
Has had a hiking boot on?
was either. This might be the only one that was in a hiking boot. Most of them are in some kind of sneaker.
Are they all the same side foot?
Oh, good question. No, and in some cases, we have had some matching shoes appear.
Oh, okay.
Have there been pairs of feet, though?
Yes.
Sorry, what do you mean? So there have been matching shoes.
Yeah,
Yes, they're the same person's feet. Yeah.
Same person.
Okay.
So,
Well, it
so
might have been a sale on Adidas one day or something.
Yeah, no, that's true.
I am
Or it
thinking.
might be two different people's feet.
So I'm trying to work it out. I'll try and do it quickly. So there are 14 feet belonging to 11 people.
Okay.
Maybe it's 10.
Do we have any idea whether they were removed post-mortem?
Certainly, most likely removed after death. Yes.
Oh, okay.
So have they? Can I have a stab here?
Oh, Wigo, it's you.
Well,
You've been stabbing people's feet.
that's right. I'm anti-feet. Okay, so I don't know. Is it some type of mountain animal that has basically attacked people and really doesn't understand how to take shoes off, and so therefore has eaten the people down to their feet, and then gone, you know what? Don't need this. It's like the prawn shell, and they've just sort of chucked them off. And that particular animal lives near a river that then flows into this particular portion of water.
No, not quite. No.
Is this place anywhere near Niagara Falls?
No, I believe it's in the west of British Columbia. It's the west coast of Canada. So,
All right.
Is there?
I like
are
the
they
fact
able to
no one's
see-
interested in where I was going with that. But anyway.
so do you think people have what do you mean, lost their foot in a fall?
Well, committed suicide and in somewhere on the fall their body's kind of been smashed into pieces.
Right.
Well, I know it's unlikely, but
Well, the whole
Have there been
story of
any other
14
body
feet
parts or just
being
feet?
found is pretty unlikely.
But it's specifically feet. That's the thing, it's
Yes.
they are the.
Are they gender-specific feet?
That's a good question. I believe, quite a few of the feet are unidentified, but the majority of the feet are male.
okay.
But there are still that are unidentified.
Would there be potentially some sort of gang operation going on? I don't know if Canada's big on gangs, but it's
like some organized crime stuff.
Yeah, their signature move for anyone who gets on their wrong side is to take their feet.
Yeah, see, that was suggested because again, when they found the first foot in 2007, it was quite weird, and then another one pretty soon after they found, and then 4 more in the next 2 years, and people were like, that maybe this is a drug cartel at work, but no, not a drug, not any organized crime.
All right, so this is
How
a bit
did I
out
know?
there.
So is it medical waste of some description?
Medical waste. Interesting. No.
Ah,
not even medical
there's a
waste.
little bit out there. Is there some sort of madman living in the Canadian mountains that is
Is it Wolverine?
attacking unknowing hikers and attaching them all together, human centipede style, by their feet or by their stumps, so that they are actually in an enormous, what would be a star now, I suppose, and keeping them all alive.
Is it a whole heap of people who are playing the hokey pokey and played it a little bit too literally, and all put the left foot in? And they put the left foot out, and it went in the water. They're like, oh no!
They were on a holiday cruise ship having fun.
Here we go.
Yeah.
A bunch of lepers playing hokey pokey.
Yeah, leprosy. We haven't sort of investigated that.
See?
All right.
Also-
I have to know now. Like, this is really, I'm interested to find out the answer to this story.
So I'll read you a couple of the phrases because there's some things in here. You know, when you read stories like that, people who are explaining what's happening use like technical language. So there's things here that you would never have heard. So the law enforcement agency described the foot as disarticulated. That is, disconnected from the human body to which it had belonged.
Right.
Okay.
Thanks for that.
So cut them.
Not specifically left or right feet. Curiously, foot number 14 was clad in a hiking boot. All the others have been in sneakers.
Is it the Seinfeld
This is
thing?
my favorite. This is my favorite quote.
That was good.
Two being found in such a short period of time is quite suspicious. Finding 1 foot is like 1,000,000 to 1 odds, but finding 2 is just crazy. That's technical language. But here we have none of the human remains had shown signs of trauma.
Seinfeld
given them-
trauma.
Oh, jeez. Fair enough. I'll give you that. I'm happy to pass that. But given the macabre nature of the finding, speculation did run rampant, whether it was a serial killer and all that. However, the answer is, I'm trying to find the exact, autopsies indicated the feet had not been mechanically removed, but rather separated through the natural processes that occur in a marine environment.
So rotted off.
So what they have worked out is these shoes or the feet that have been found are more than likely from people who have suffered from a misadventure, fallen off a boat in a storm, or drowning, or they're mainly fallen off a boat, or committing suicide. However, they believe that since the 1980s, sneakers have been made from a different material that allows them to be buoyant.
Right.
So what they believed happened was, in the past, if you fell off a boat, you would sink to the very bottom. But what happens is
They're floating
float.
feet downwards.
There's feet, are floating on the surface. So if you were to look from above, it would just be the soles of shoes floating upwards, and the body is weighted down. And then rotting and fishy fish come and just nibble away slowly, picking bits off until the foot is removed, rots away, all the cartilage is gone, until it's just the foot floating around.
But when
And is everyone happy with this explanation?
It's
No, I like my mad scientist in the bush.
the mad scientist in the bush doing the leprosy hokey pokey.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
doesn't this kind of
Why is it-
rely on the currents being completely consistent all the time, just to funnel any overboard people or suiciders or whatever into the very specific one place all the time?
But isn't that how currents work?
But
It's like
Okay,
But why this one particular area?
it's not. I think the area is quite wide.
oh,
Like I don't
Yeah,
think
So it's not like it's all just
it's
washing
not like
into
it's
the
all
bay.
turning up on
everywhere.
one beach. It's not all
But
turning
why
up.
not everywhere then? Like, I mean, like literally everywhere in the world. If this is the case, why is it being so local? And I'm saying localized on a global scale.
I think
You know, we're
maybe it is happening. It's just this news story. Like, I think because 4 feet were found in the space of a few months. Yeah. And so now that people are just aware of it.
Everyone's looking
so
at
it's
feet.
another foot's found, because really it's 14 feet over the space of 11 years.
Okay.
Okay, that's quite a lot of spacing. One of those feet they found was from 1985, from a missing person from 1985.
Okay.
So that's just been bobbing around for 25, 30 years, but the sneakers remain fairly intact with the foot in it.
That is a great advertisement for those particular sneakers. Were they LA Gears?
Air Jordans?
I think there's quite a few Asics. Anyway, see if we can get sponsored by Asics. Hey, here in Asics, if you fall overboard wearing ours, there's actually quite a few New Balances. One of the pair were a pair of New Balances.
No, Dunlop Volleys?
No, sadly, no Dunlop Volleys.
All right.
Why is this happening everywhere then?
But I think it might be. It's just that this just generated stories. So it might, feet might be turning up, say, on the central coast of New South Wales, but no one's saying, "Hey, has anyone found a foot? Anyone?"
We're just sweeping it under the carpet.
People are just like, "We found a foot. What do we do with that?" I don't know. And also,
are we saying that people in New South Wales who find a foot on the beach just pretend, bury it and don't mention it?
You know what?
This is part of the call.
I'm gonna
fucking backpackers.
I'm gonna put this to you. How many times have you seen a single shoe on the beach and not bothered to see if there was a foot in it?
Oh, yeah.
Every time.
Because that's where people will leave their wallets.
That's
so if there's
right.
a shoe on the beach, that's
So
what I'm going.
walking on the beach, you see one shoe.
Or nappies, Yeah, fucking don't go up to nappies and bloody push it in there, bloody see if someone's wallet's in there. No, probably have a shit in it. But anyway.
All right.
So if you were a murderer, Wiggins, you'd be cutting on people's feet and put them in nappies? Is that what you mean?
Yep, and then putting them back in shoes.
Right.
We got your modus operandi down.
The foot nappy shoe killer.
The foot nappy shit guy.
Shit shoe killer. Yeah.
So following this logic, should we then assume that nobody on Malaysian Airlines 370 was wearing sneakers?
Right. That's a very good question.
Yeah.
Well, no. It'll take a while, but
yeah, I think what they found is that it is down to currents and it is random. Like that's the thing. One of them was found in 2011, was found to be a missing person from 1985.
Right.
1985. But so we might find them washed up on the west coast of Africa, in 25 years.
Okay. All right.
So I'm still, I don't know. I can understand where you're coming from, but I just think that it seems very convenient. And I think that
not for the people who are dead.
Well, I'd be more convinced if, say, there was a plane crash, even off the coast of San Diego or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And eventually the remains of these people ended up floating up to Canada. That would, if you had a specific event or something like that, it would seem to make more sense to me than having, as I say, this relatively localized happening. And without and I'm sure that if it was happening around the world, there would be, and maybe, as you say, maybe not necessarily in Africa and places that don't quite have the same media coverage and things like that, but definitely Australia. Think about the coastlines of Australia. Surely if there was lots of feet being washed up.
I think this is all happening in it's looking at it.
It seems more concentrated than an actually
picture, but it's all in a cove as well.
Yeah, okay.
So it's not on a coast. It's not on a big coastline. It's almost in the flow is coming into an inlet, so to speak. It's a huge area, but it's not it's not just appearing on the coast of Canada.
Absolutely.
But it is odd that it's localized.
Oh, I'm just having a look at a map of where they actually come in, and it's actually kind of behind Vancouver Island. It's not even on you have to, as you say, the currents would have to, and some of them are actually running down a river.
Right.
So it just seems to me that's a long way for things to be getting.
My mad scientist theory is really gaining traction.
If we're talking about people drowning,
I think what you need to look up.
If it was a well-known suicide area or something around there, I suppose at the mouth of that tributary that you got going on there, then yep, fair enough.
You know what it sounds like to me? This excuse sounds to me like the sort of excuse that some scientists might come up with if an organized crime gang had forced them into coming up with a believable excuse that wasn't them
They're
cutting people's feet off. Yeah.
This is the start of the movie.
I think that, I don't doubt that most of the science is solid and good, but it just seems to be that there's the hypothesis about where it's coming from. I just would like to see something a bit more, I suppose, substantial around, like just, it could be from just people who've done this and that, the other. Like, you know, I suppose there's going to be a lot of water traffic and stuff out there, but I don't know.
You know what I wonder? What it would sound like for Jerry Seinfeld to come home and find his whole family has had their feet taken off by an organized crime gang. Anyone have any idea what that would sound like? Sensible Ben?
No.
Sensible Ben?
Oh, what is this? My family! My whole family! They got no feet! I'm glad I brought that up.
What is the deal with people stealing people's feet? Well, I mean, these were my good sneakers.
No. Jerry sneakers would definitely float.
All right, and on that,
leave it there.
On that poignant note, we might leave it there for this evening. Thank you very much, fellas. That was May the 22nd. True time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So look up more feet stuff. Look up how many feet and shoes wash up on the shore in Australia every year. And see if
I've tried that. There's no answer.
There's no stat. Because
Oh,
no one cares. No one cares for feet in Australia.
feet in shoes.
Yeah. Well, everything on Google, of course, goes back to the Canada one. So
Right. Well, we need to tell Peter Dutton that refugees are hiding in shoes to get into the country, and then we'll get accurate stats of.
say they're white feet.
People care. That's right.
Also, I'm pretty pissed. I had some more highlighted Blossom facts, but anyway.
Well, run through them. Oh no, buckling back.
All right. Apologies there, fellas. It was.
That's all right. That's all right.
Oh, you will be sorry when you find out what I actually had left in the bag.
In the Blossom bag.
Yeah, it was actually only one name, but anyway, it's fine.
Yes.
That may or may not have been Estelle Getty.
I
Now I know what was in the bag.
just love how long it took you to say that Blossom ended on this day.
Oh man, I was gonna read like 2 pages of shit just to get to that.
That's what you just lead with that. That's all you bring. You just bring.
I know.
Blossom to